Hi, so I'm Kerry Hudson. I'm a director and solicitor at Bullivant Law Solicitors and the former president of the LCSA, which is the London Criminal Court Solicitors Association.
Okay, and we're outside the Royal Courts of Justice at the moment, and criminal barristers are out on strike. And I wanted to ask you, why are they striking?
So barristers are striking because barristers and solicitors for many, many years, since the 1996, have not had a pay rise. And unfortunately, because of everything going up, inflation, cost of living, we can no longer work at those rates. We as solicitors are making a loss on many cases, so we are effectively paying to do legal aid work, and we are not charities, we are trying to run businesses. The bar are in a similar predicament in that they are on fixed fees which don't even cover often the travel to go to and from court. They cannot work for free either. So it's come to a crux point now. This is not something new, this has been happening for many, many years. We've been shouting about it for many, many years, but we've come to a point where enough is enough. And we are two sides of the same coin in this profession. So solicitors and barristers must now stand together to make sure that Mr. Raab hears what we're saying and does something urgently. Not next week, not next month, not next year. So Christopher Bellamy's report said that an urgent cash injection was needed immediately, and that was last November. We're now in July, and here we are, and all we're seeing is misinformation being pumped into the press suggesting that we've been offered 15% and we've rejected that. That is not true at all.
And are solicitors able to take any action around this? Are you able to ballot to go on strike or anything similar?
So solicitors are in a slightly different position than the bar. The majority of the bar are self-employed and they're independent. They work in chambers. So they as individuals can decide to walk out. Unfortunately, solicitors, we have firms which are contracted with the legal aid agency. So it's very difficult for us if we walk out or we refuse to do certain types of work within the contract. We're in breach of that contract, and of course that puts us at risk of fundamental breach and losing those contracts. So we're in a slightly different position. So we are doing all we can at the moment to be here and support our fellow colleagues at the bar. And here at the London Criminal Court Solicitors Association, we're also in the process of balloting our members to see whether they want to take some further form of direct action, and we're trying to get advice to see what we can do to step this up, because we cannot continue like this. Breach of contract or no breach of contract, there'll be no firms to provide contractual work if this carries on much longer.
And can I ask you, I mean, you talked about some of the misinformation that's been in the media, and obviously this portrayal that you're just greedy, trying to get more wages or whatever. But how does this affect the public? Why should the public care about this and support this?
Okay, well, historically, barristers and solicitors are seen as fat cat lawyers, and it's not helped by information going out to the public that trainees are earning £100,000 a year and all the rest of it. There is a big difference between criminal barristers and solicitors who provide legal aid services compared to commercial solicitors and barristers who may be on that kind of money because they charge private rates. We're on fixed fees that are dictated to us by the current contract through the government. So we have no choice. We get a fixed fee no matter what we do, no matter how many hours of work that we do. So unfortunately, the press historically have focused on the commercial bar, thinking that they are the same bar as criminal legal aid, and solicitors as being magic circle firms. We are not those people. We are people that are, like I said, often working for a loss. It's a very one-sided contract, so in a firm like mine, we only provide criminal legal aid work. We do a little bit of private, but mostly legal aid. And unfortunately, the contract is put to us in such a way to say you either contract and take the terms of what we give you under legal aid, or you don't. That's not a fair negotiation, and unfortunately we have had to put up with that for many, many years, but because of the rates being 1996, we literally now cannot survive. We cannot recruit young people into the profession. The average age of a duty solicitor is about 50 years old now, so they're naturally going to start retiring, and there's no succession. And barristers and solicitors are highly skilled people. We do a lot of education, and then we have a lot of practice. We do training contracts for many, many years, and there's a big gap now in the market. So even if there's a crisis of conscience today and the money is pumped into the system, it's going to be like turning a truck. It's going to take many, many years to get the next generation through, to get them properly trained, to keep them and retain them without them going to the CPS or into different areas of law where the money is better. We've got to try and hold on to them to then make sure they are becoming the partners of our firms in the future, the senior judges and the silks of the future, and the people who are actually the actual judges themselves. It's going to take time. So this is not a quick fix situation, but we are the bar is on strike today, and we're here supporting it because there is already a gap, and the longer that gap goes on, and the longer that we try and be in this position, then the bigger that crisis is going to be.
Absolutely. And final question: what can people do to support this cause?
You mean the general public?
Yeah.
So the general public, first of all, can ask the right questions and challenge when they're getting misinformation from the media. We are seeing that just over the last couple of weeks, we are seeing the tide turn. I think there's only so much that the government can pump out the wrong information, because you've heard from today outside the Royal Courts of Justice, you've heard young barristers who have been qualified for 1, 2, 3 years. They are giving you the actual figures of what they earn. They are giving you the day-to-life details of what it's like to work 6, 7 days a week for nothing, to earn £900 for an entire month when you've dealt with really, really serious cases. And solicitors are going to tell you the same thing, that we're not earning enough money to be able to pay our rent, our overheads for our staff. We're not earning enough money to be able to pay a fair living wage for our trainees. That's why they're not staying. So the public can help by correcting that misinformation when they hear it. They can help by telling even one friend or one family member the facts when they pump out the old rhetoric of us being fat cat lawyers. And they can turn up to events like this today to show solidarity and to ask us the right questions. Our doors are always open. We're happy to tell you about the day-to-day life of both criminal barristers and criminal solicitors. And the most important myth that we need to bust is that criminal legal aid is just for criminals. It's not just for criminals. It's one of those things that at some point in life, everybody will be tied up in one way or another in the criminal justice system, whether that's been in the wrong place, wrong time, misidentity as a suspect, or whether it's been a victim of crime or a witness to crime. It affects everybody. Our criminal justice system needs to function, justice needs to be done, and it needs to be seen to be done for everybody to believe in justice and the foundation of our democracy. It's a core pillar, and it affects everybody. Just because it's not a vote winner or the most sexiest subject for the government, it's an important one. And once you lose the people within it who are working really, really hard to keep what was once the envy of the world. Many jurisdictions are based on the criminal justice system and the whole justice system of this country, and that's just been taken apart bit by bit to the point now where men and women of the bar and solicitors have got no choice but to walk out. We don't want to walk out. We are leaving our vulnerable clients and all these people who rely on us to keep the wheels of justice turning. We are leaving them by themselves, and the backroll's going to get even more. But the reality is it will collapse entirely if we don't cause a little bit of disruption now to get that message out.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, and solidarity with you.
Thank you.